This One's Wife, the empty existence. Hello, I'm H.G. Tudor. I was the first person to tell you that This One's Wife is a narcissist. I explained this years ago, first of all on my blog, and then through various videos. And given the level of interest in This One's Wife and the superlative example of a narcissist in action, it has enabled me to create many videos about her, demonstrating the various facets of her narcissism to educate people. As part of this, I was the first to explain that she's empty on the inside, that she is this empty vessel that is controlled by the narcissism like a background app that cruises through life, always obeying the necessity of asserting control directly, indirectly, through withdrawal. By sucking up the fuel by way of the emotional responses of other people, for it is her lifeblood. Such as her emptiness, she needs to acquire the characteristics, the fragments, the shards, the aspects of other people and bolt them onto herself, and we've seen this time and time again with her plagiarism of other people's material, quotations and experiences that she tries to pass off as her own, and of course the pursuit of residual benefits, chief of which is her grifting for money. She is simply empty on the inside. There is nothing there. No substance, no ability, no talent. Narcissism causes this empty vessel to move through life in pursuit of the prime aims. And it was, of course, my explanation of her emptiness that was seized upon by South Park, with their memorable portrayal of when Harry flips open her head and looks in to find nothing inside, simply an echo. What is interesting is that I've repeatedly called This One's Wife the Duchess of Industrial Beigeness, because, other than being a sterling example of narcissism, she's very bland and boring. Not only is she bland and boring in the way that she behaves, but also in the way that she dresses, with her repeated choice of anything that is beige-related, or biscuit, or camel. And what is also interesting is where she sought to live is equally bland, and in a strange kind of way, her emptiness fits so well with the empty existence that occurs in Monty Shit Show. And this has been picked up on by a journalist from the Times, Katie Glass, who gives us some more insight into what Monty Shit Show is like. And the overriding thrust of this is that essentially it is an empty existence. I must admit that on reading this article, it put me in mind to an extent of J.G. Ballard's excellent novel, Cocaine Nights. Not so much because of the allegations that Gruesome Twosome like to have a good old snort, but rather that the fictional resort of Estrella del Mar that's mentioned in Cocaine Nights is a place really where not a lot happens. It's a gated resort where there is almost this kind of community that's bereft of any kind of spark, or that changes. That it seemingly is a perfect place, but it's bland. It has nothing about it. And when I read this article, that made me think very much of how Monty Shit Show is portrayed, and also how it fits so well with someone as empty as This One's Wife. The article explains, I realise I must be nearing Monty Shit Show, the small and assuming oceanside neighbourhood north of Los Angeles that the Duke and Duchess of Sussex call home, when I hear a helicopter purring overhead. The fifth most expensive zip code in the United States. Here, This One's Wife and Harry's neighbours include Katy Perry, Natalie Portman, Jeff Bridges, Michael Douglas, Neil Young, Michael Keaton, Oprah, and, until recently, Ellen DeGeneres. Their newest is Gwyneth Paltrow, who's moving into a huge eco-house with her husband, Brad Falchuk. I listen to the whirring blades in the sky and wonder if it's Harry doing the school run. I'm here because I've watched the trailer for This One's Wife's Netflix show with Love, Meghan, an 8-part lifestyle series coming in March revolving around the Sussex's gorgeous sun-drenched life in Monty Shit Show. In it, the Duchess, glowing with honey skin and white teeth, promises to show us how baking, tablescaping, and arranging flowers can be conducted in the pursuit of joy, making every moment magical from sifting flour to eating lettuce. Convinced by the jaunty soundtrack and how good this one's wife looks, I decide to head to Monty Shit Show in search of such joy-filled moments for myself. They call the Santa Barbara coast the American Riviera, so I imagined I'd pull up somewhere as glamorous as the Croisette in Cannes. Instead, I arrived at an uninspiring collection of low, beige bungalows, housing a collection of mum-and-pop shops, a post office, a hardware store, a needlepoint shop. Surely Harry and this one's wife did not move halfway across the world for this. Then I spot the first sign things are not quite as apple pie as they seem. Outside the hardware store, where a twee sign reads "No place like home," are parked a Tesla, Bentley, and 2 Porsche Cayennes. I venture into the village grocery and possibly find this one's wife's inspiration. Inside is like a mini Whole Foods, a strange combination of Hollywood money and a Haight-Ashbury hippie palette. Shelves are crammed with champagne, hippie essentials, $130 bottles of Bollinger and $20 essential oils. On food shelves, I find regenerative-sourced grass-fed bison, paleo cereal, and ashwagandha tea, whatever the goop that is. I wonder what they have that a busy mother like this one's wife might buy to feed her 2 small children. After searching a while, I find a packet of antibiotic-free chicken nuggets. After my hellish drive, I fancy a snack, so I treat myself to a vegan, kosher, gluten-free, non-GMO certified beetroot juice and a 100% organic, vegan, gluten-free, palm oil-free, soy-free, low-sodium chocolate bar, which costs $10. I wonder how anyone has time to do anything here except read the labels. Outside, I start meandering my way around the rest of the shops, past a health food store selling $100 turmeric pills into a little boutique named Imagine. I'm humming the John Lennon song, Imagine No Possessions, as I peruse shelves of $1,120 stretch lambskin leather trousers and $200 marble condiment bowls. Hanging on walls are canvas tarpaulins dawdled with Instagrammable quotes. One by royal wedding florist Constance Spry reads, "Follow your star," for $200. Nearby sits a book, the spine of which proclaims, "Be fearful of mediocrity." Are Monty Shit Show's residents exhausted by all this motivation? Walking the aisles, I pass Alessi steel kettles, Bucks on Pride, rainbow chopsticks, and baseball caps that say "Been there, hiked that." I wonder exactly what kind of design-obsessed, nature-loving LGBT ally shops here. Then remember that Ellen DeGeneres used to live up the road, until she moved to the Cotswolds, which attracts a similar demographic. Leaving Imagine behind, I head off in search of Harry and this one's wife's other favourite spots. Venturing down the road towards the village, en route I pass a fake log cabin with a homeware store inside selling rattan chairs for $3,000, with the plastic sheep outside and bulbous topiary so perfectly round and richly green that I stop to check if it's plastic. Rounding the corner, I find a collection of shops where the vibe is Totnes, reimagined by Ralph Lauren. At outside tables, people who look like Glastonbury transplants but cleaner, richer and perma-tanned sip coconut soy lattes and ice matcha green teas, besides a notice board of handwritten adverts for integrative wellness workshops, animal acupressure and life transition coaches. One flyer for an animal communicating class, which promises to teach you to talk with your pets, is illustrated with a picture of a dolphin. Parking myself at a table, I eavesdrop on a group of 30-something locals as one sighs, "Part of me wonders if I should just move to Bali for a year." I squint closer to see if it's Harry. In the local shops, this one's wife's beige and white aesthetic abounds. I explore the country house furniture selling $800 stone chickens as garden decorations. Is this the price of joy these days? At clothing store Wendy Foster, this one's wife alikes in oversized white cardigans and shin-grazing jeans sift through racks of exorbitantly priced rustic neutrals. The local estate agents seem to take a similar approach. describing mansions that can reach $63 million in terms such as quaint, authentic, and understating, in much the same way that Harry and this one's wife tend not to highlight that their $14 million mansion has 16 bathrooms and instead focus on the beehives and chickens. Heading inside the Pierre Lafond Market Cafe in Delhi, said to be a Sussex favourite, I find more rustic fare on a Harrods budget. There are wicker baskets, hand-painted plates, and wooden chopping boards. Could this be where this one's wife bought the black walnut ones that feature on her show and are said to cost £60? I spot a range of $19 Lulu Bell jam, made in a home kitchen, in flavours that seem to have been inspired by Bob Geldof's children, OJ Pixie Tangerine and Albion Strawberry, Cranberry and Pomegranate. Could this be the inspiration for this one's wife's own American Riviera Orchard jam range? Onward, then, this time to the Monty Shitshow Country Mark, where I find a strange simulacrum of a small market town that looks about as much like a real market as Bicester Village. A cluster of identical pristine white shops sell products as overpriced as they are whimsical. This is the homeware store selling pottery plates adorned with smiling suns that look like a toddler drew them for $100. Another with $70 wooden-handled dusters, and a children's boutique offering $73 striped pyjamas alongside other ski toile bedtime sets. It is striking how aesthetically perfect everything is. Even the air wafts with the scent of Ciré Trudon candles, which cost $150. No wonder poor this one's wife has resorted to making them. Even the newsstand only sells stylish periodicals, such as Vogue, Monocle, and California Homes, as if the mere sight of newsprint might be too abrasive. Everything is exorbitantly expensive. Even the plainest home shop I find, Hudson Grace, is flogging $1,000 champagne flutes. I popped to Rory's artisanal creamery, i.e. the ice cream place, which this one's wife frequents, presumably for the tropical wild berry vegan ice cream, and watch people hidden behind sunglasses enjoy lunch at Patina, where this one's wife is said to be a regular. At pink tables with green and white parasols, they eat gluten-free, naturally leavened, 48-hour fermented organic flour dough pizzas topped with hand-pulled mozzarella. The same virtual signalling feast continues in the nearby supermarket, where everything you look things are labelled with made with goodness or packaged with love, although it is all starting to feel about as genuine as DeGeneres' Be Kind catchphrase. On the main strip I pass people who look so glowing and slim they might exist only on a diet of green juice. They wear one of the two uniforms of the wealthy elite, either working a this one's wife palette of tasteful neutrals, beige jackets and white jeans, or an off-duty this one's wife wardrobe of luxury athleisure. I hoped I might spot this one's wife and Harry, but it is impossible to know if I've seen them because men with scruffy beards and Patagonia vests and women with long dark hair and low baseball caps are ubiquitous. People are almost indistinguishable. In my leopard print cardigan from Primark, I feel unbearably crass. There are dogs here better dressed than me. For lunch, I thought I might head to Lucky's, where Harry and this one's wife go for date night, but I discover that it can cost $175 for a steak. Instead, I decide to check out the Italian Tre Lune, where this one's wife had her 42nd birthday, and Kevin Costner is said to be a regular. I find a place vaguely styled like an Italian restaurant with terracotta slate roofs decked in vines, which feels about as authentic as Pizza Hut. Here, mains include filet mignon and veal chop, cost up to $65. Even the Ellen salad, allegedly named after DeGeneres, will set you back $42. Instead, I take myself along the road to Lilac with its oak-free milk lattes, gluten-free cupcakes and gender-neutral toilets, and treat myself to a £6 cappuccino. I flick through the Village magazine perusing ads for private jets, oyster bars and diamond shops, reading a feature on whether Monty Shitshow needs a Lambo tax. Flipping the page, I'm stunned to see sheepish-looking Harry and beaming this one's wife at the opening of a local bookshop. Vanity Fair reports that locals call them the Prince and the Starlet as if they cannot bear having someone live here who's so openly famous. Noting their penchant for self-promoting around town, In the video for DeGeneres and Portia de Rossi's vow renewal, in Harry's Netflix series Polo, filmed in a local field, in With Love Meghan, filmed at a wedding venue's Monty Shitshow Orchard, Vanity Fair reports that they've become local villains. An anonymous vocal is quoted as saying, "I think everyone, including the A-list celebs, would prefer that Monty Shitshow, is not on the map like it is now." I end my day on Butterfly Beach, where Harry walks his Labrador and welcomed in the new year by filming This One's Wife writing 2025 in the sand. For a moment I think I might have spotted them, but as another Instagram husband taking pictures of his wife in the sunset. Monty Shitshow reminds me of that South Park parody of the Sussexes in which Harry opens up This One's Wife only to find that inside she's hollow. Or as a person who works closely with the couple, who told Vanity Fair she loves them, admitted, "I have no idea what Harry's interests are beyond polo, no clue what his inner life is like." At least in the Hamptons they have a backbone of culture. Rothko, Jackson Pollock, Kurt Vonnegut and Joseph Heller. I find myself feeling sorry for Harry, who's found himself living somewhere so bland. Imagine leaving a palace in vibrant central London for this beige mecca to wellness. As someone who spent my 20s chasing the young prince around bougies for work, that was a lot more interesting than my day in Monty Shitshow. This might be the most boring place that I have ever been, and I live in a field in Somerset. But it's not just Monty Shitshow's blandness that I find irritating, or even how disingenuous it seems, designed for rich people pretending they're reenacting the good life, where their housekeepers do all the hard work. For all its pride pencils, gender-neutral toilets and gluten-free cupcakes, there is glaring economic and racial inequality in Monty Shitshow that no one wants to address. This One's Wife's show may feature Indian-American actress Mindy Kaling and Korean-American chef Roy Choi, but in Monty Shitshow, I don't see anyone who is not white, except those people waiting tables, working in gardens, or running between the stores as Amazon delivery drivers. Don't the right-on residents find this problematic? Or does living here take the same cognitive dissonance that allows a self-proclaimed feminist to launch a luxury tradwife lifestyle brand during a cost-of-living crisis? On the way home, I drive past fields where I spot workers who've spent the day hunched in the sun doing the back-breaking farming that delivers all those organic salads to Monty Shitshow's tables. I think of This One's Wife wafting around her garden with a basket, finding magic in picking berries. I leave Monty Shitshow feeling not joyful, not nourished, but empty, and I don't just mean my wallet. This journalist's take on Monty Shitshow, demonstrating the wealth that's there but the blandness that goes with it, perfectly encapsulating This One's Wife, demonstrating a degree of sympathy for Harry at moving to such a boring and bland place, and also the hypocrisies which again sit with This One's Wife. Hers is an empty existence. She thinks she matters because she's in such a place, but in actual fact, she's chosen somewhere as bland as she is, without recognising that she's even not wanted there. I'm H.G. Tudor. Thank you for listening.